There we are. So, hi, good morning, everyone. This is Abhijit, and very glad to connect with you this morning. And I'm thankful to the team for organizing this and inviting me for this session. May I start, Dr. Rama?
Just, formality we have as part of this thing. So, welcome to each and every one of you. And thank you so much, Abhijit, for immediately accepting our invitation. And thank you so much. And thank you, girls, for registering and joining. As part of CWE and IIC, we are having this as a self-driven activity under the Department of Commerce. I request now Abradita, the co-coordinator of CWE and Vice President of IIC, to give a brief introduction about CWE and IIC.
Yes, thank you, Rama ma'am. Thank you, Abhijit sir. It's an honor to have you. And we really love the way you responded back immediately with everything. So thank you so much for being so prompt and responsive. I'll quickly introduce CWE, our Center for Women Entrepreneurship and its association. So it was formally inaugurated in the year 2017. CWE aims to create an environment that promotes and stimulates the spirit of entrepreneurship amongst the students of the college through various education programs, events, activities, and research. So it is a proud moment for us to collaborate with prestigious Tata Institute of Social Science, Mumbai. We have set up an incubation center for social entrepreneurship, where we give our budding entrepreneurs to explore opportunities in the social space. We have successfully set up Institution Innovation Council and Rural Entrepreneurship Development Cell in 2020. All of these are Ministry of Education, Government of India initiatives. Institution Innovation Council at institutes are envisioned an instrumental role to drive innovation and startup ecosystem at the campus while connecting with the ecosystem enablers at the regional and national levels. We are happy to share that we recently inaugurated the Startup Club and the IPR Club under the aegis of IIC. This year, we are very proud to announce that we have been given a 3.5-star rating. Now, being a non-technical college, this is a huge achievement for us, and we are really proud of our students who have, of course, been the contributors to this and the entire college support system that we have got. Thank you so much. Over to Mohsina.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning to each and everyone present here. I'm Mohsina Sheikh, student of MCOM Business. Would take this opportunity to introduce our speaker for today's session, Mr. Abhijit Khandalge. In this session, Mr. Abhijit will guide us how to prepare a business model canvas for any business opportunity. Mr. Abhijit has a numerous role in his work. He is an innovator, space researcher, and an entrepreneur. After exploring several roles, he found his passion to work on exclusive projects that use technology to improve lives. Mr. Abhijit ran 2 ED tech startups, served as a fellow for Clean India Mission. In 2018, Mr. Abhijit, with his mentor, formed the Vriksha Ecosystem Foundation, a non-profit focused towards building a culture of innovation, problem solving, and entrepreneurship in underserved geographies to solve local problems and build the future. In pandemic, he discovered a problem of inaccessible education for several rural children. He and his team is currently working on building a text and audio-based learning tool to address this digital divide and help children learn. Such an incredible project, sir. Now over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mohsina. Over to you, Abhijit.
I thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I'm sorry I got dropped off due to some network issues. issue, so I lost a couple of minutes. Extremely sorry about that. Good morning, everyone, again. Very, very glad to see all of you this morning. And I'm really excited to host this session with all of you. And thank you for the invitation from the team. To kickstart, how many of you have have or know about design thinking? Maybe you can use the reactions tab and you can click on the yes button, the green tick. And if you haven't, you can click on the red cross. How many of you have heard about design thinking or business model canvas in the past? Okay, very few responses. Again, have you heard about business model canvas before? Yes or no?
Come on, girls, fast. Respond fast. Business model canvas. Have you all heard? Prachi, Cheetal, put a green tick. Come on.
So there's a reactions tab right below your screen. You can use that, or maybe if you want to raise your hand, or if you are unable to find that, either ways it works. Cool. A few people have heard, a lot of people haven't. So maybe those who have, Aditi, would you like to share a little bit of whatever you know about business model canvas? Aditi or Ria, any one of you maybe. I'm not trying to put anyone on the spot, but just trying to make it more interactive.
Ria, you can try.
It's like a template used for jotting down the entire funnel of the business, like the idea or anything, like the entire business model, I guess.
Yeah, that's correct. Cool. So that's fairly there, and that's exactly why we are here this morning to share a little bit about what business model canvas entails and how do we build that. So again, before I begin my presentation, how many of you are interested to start a business on your own? Maybe just raise your hands. Okay, now I'm seeing some good activity. Happy to see this.
Okay, but in this area, sir, we will need many mentoring sessions for the students.
Absolutely.
Because we struggle. I mean, Rama ma'am, of course, has been in this field much longer than I have been with the whole concept of the Center for Women Entrepreneurship. But what we have observed is, it is not a long term that they look at. So we need to really work on that.
Yes, I agree with that.
No, as I say, there's this one line that I say that while I started the nonprofit Vruksh Ecosystem Foundation, I tell people that I'm in the business of making entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
That's why I said we'll need many more mentoring sessions from you.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's exactly what I do, and that's exactly why I'm here for. So very happy to see this enthusiasm. We'll come to some of you soon. So what we'll go through 3 topics today. One is just get an overview of what design thinking is, how do you use SWOT, and then actually go to the main topic, that's business model canvas. So design thinking is a methodology that has been used by a lot of people to build solutions or come up with solutions to problems around us, right? This originated in Stanford Design School and helps you through a very structured process in terms of how do you come up with ideas, how do you build solutions, how do you test them and see the effectiveness of that, right? It starts the first thing with empathize, that you empathize with your customer or user. You put yourself in their shoes and see how it feels like, right? This you are able to do through interviews, by observing people, by uh, doing a role play of sorts, and multiple different ways and means where you empathize with your user or your customer in terms of what problems are they facing day in and day out. In several cases, those problems uh, are faced by you also on a daily basis. So it's much easier to do this process. And then comes the most important part, which is defining the problem, right? Sometimes you set out key, I want to build, sometimes you think of, okay, I want to build this solution, or I want to solve this problem. But what specifically are you solving for, right? The problem statement might completely differ from the problem definition might completely differ from the problem statement that you're seeing. I had the privilege to work with Mr. Suresh Lula. He's called the father of quality in India. And he used to give a lot of fables when we were developing a program for him. And one key fable that I remember is they were trying to solve for absenteeism in factories. And the entire management thought that, okay, why are people being more absent in the factories on a regular basis? How can we improve that? And when they actually did that entire process of this empathy mapping, they figured out that the problem statement was actually at the hospital uh, and in the community. That one is there were like in sanitary areas in the community where they were living, and at the hospital they did not have a streamlined process to execute that to help people who are visiting. And that's where the while the core problem being faced was absenteeism in factories, the problem definition came out to be how can we make the process in the hospital much easier, right? And which basically solves this. And that's how we started doing building what and that's where they started building the solution around it. And then comes the next step, which is ideation. So once you have a very clear cut idea of what the specific problem is, you start on building different ideas. You come up with 4 or 5 or ideas in different ways and means on how you could solve them. And then like distribute yourself as teams and execute, like come up with these different random ideas. They may not be you don't have to think always in terms of how do you exactly solve them, but at least come up with potential ideas on the solution of it. And then the next step is actually prototyping them. Then you come up with different prototypes in terms of how do I solve this, how do I like what could be the minimal viable product or minimal viable solution uh, for this specific idea, and then test it out there in the market. So it's a circular process which we follow. And again, I'm sorry for my dog out there. He gets a little excited, but yeah, he's pretty much always there with me in meetings. So yeah, so that's there. And as I said, that it follows an entire process. Some people use 5 steps, some people use 6 steps in design thinking process. And as I said, that you obviously first start with empathizing, you do interviews, you do emotion mapping, you design, build stories, then you define the specific problem, then ideate and or brainstorm on several different ideas. And based on those ideas, you create certain prototypes that potentially can solve the problem. And then you go out and test these in the wild. And once you're done testing, whatever data that you capture, you use that access, you ponder over it, and you see what went right, what went wrong, and then start building the solution right from scratch. Okay. So this is a quick insight into design thinking. And coming to okay, and coming to SWOT, right? So design thinking. I hope so far we are good. And SWOT is something I really love, right? And this the first time I realized the value of doing a SWOT analysis was a few years back when I had to take a major decision of taking an opportunity, like whether should I take an opportunity or continue with what I was doing. And that's when I realized that, okay, SWOT we always study in our management schools, colleges. I studied engineering. I'm a self, and all management concepts are self learned in the wild. So all of these things I used to do a lot of bookish reading and learning, and I never got to really apply this. And that was the first time I said, okay, let me put up a framework in terms of making a decision. And that's when I started doing a SWOT analysis for myself and for the opportunity that I had. So we all know it has 4 levels, that is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. The 2 parts, which are strengths and weaknesses, are purely internal factors that depend more on you as a person, and the opportunities and threats are completely external factors which you hardly have any control of, right? I would really encourage you to do this, one for yourself, for if you are building a business, then for your team, and for the business as whole, right? What you do is strengths is obviously whatever you're good at, whatever you like to really share that, okay, or brag about in your circles. Hey, this is something that I'm really good at. I'm really good at talking. I'm really good at networking. I'm really good at drawing. Again, it can be any skill. It does not have to be technical in nature. And then weaknesses is what are those things that you feel that you're not very good at, right? Which you internally fear about yourself. So writing them down makes it, it's an exercise when you write this on a piece of paper and it's in front of you in black and white, that hey, this is what it is. And then based on that, you define what opportunities are there for me in the future and what are the potential threats that I might face in going in the future going ahead, or things around me, right? What you have to do is work on your strengths and opportunities, maximize them, and try and figure out how do you reduce your weaknesses and threats. This could be by finding a co-founder for your startup, figuring out mentors, learning about it, bunch of different activities that you can potentially do. And then that really helps you moving forward. Now coming to the main topic, the reason I do this background is because it just sets you in the mood, because before we dive right into what the business model canvas is. This is the template. I guess most of you might have seen it. If you haven't, just go to this website called Strategizer. It has a template. You can just download that. It has a PDF that you can edit, and you can use this for yourself. And the fundamental part of a business model canvas is that it's always iterative, right? It will never be constant. Canvas that you build today might completely change in the next quarter, right? So this is something that you need to ensure that you are revisiting again and again in a lot of cases. So it has these 9 blocks, which are very beautifully and strategically placed. So just to give a more visual representation to it, is right in the center, you have the value proposition that you're building, right? Any problem, it could be your college project, it could be a startup, it could be a service, anything that you are trying to build for, right? A business activity. What is the core value proposition that you want to provide? I want to provide grocery to people while they're sitting at home. I want to provide financial independence to people in remote areas, or I want to give education to people who are not getting it. Again, bunch of different things. It can be But then that has to be the core. What is that value proposition that you're trying to solve? And it, on either sides of it, you have the customer relationship, distribution channels, revenues, and customer segments. And on the other side, you have key activities, key resources, strategic partners, and cost structure. Now, how do we start doing this? Is the first step is, what are you doing, right? That's your core value proposition. That's something that you add there. These are the 3 or 4 or 5 things that I'm adding, that I'm providing to my potential customer, right? So from here, you move to, and then let me just, okay. Yeah, so this is a wonderful graph, or structure that shows on how these things interact with each other. So once you know what your value proposition is, you need to define who your customers are, right? In terms of customers, who could be like, you would want to define their age, their gender, their geography, their income groups, all of these things, right? And be as specific as possible. You can't say, okay, I want to target people in India, right? Or I want to target people in Pune, right? There are a wide variety of people that live just in one city or one locality, right? What kind, like, are you something that maybe a 3-year-old wants might not be the same thing that a 25-year or a 60-year-old would need, right? So you can't say that, okay, I'm giving it to people in this region. So you need to define, are you building for a specific segment? Are you building for toddlers? Are you building for early childhood, children in their early childhood, or late childhood, or youth, or whatever, like different of these age groups? You want to define what demographic are they based in. Are they in metros? Are they in tier 2 cities? What places are they mostly in? What are their income groups like? What is the spending capacity? That's something that you want to define, because that matters whether they will be able to afford your product or not, right? So your targeting needs to be very specific. So that's where you use different customer segments in terms of defining your customer profile, right? So this is very important to define, because most people, most companies, new entrepreneurs go wrong exactly at this level is they don't know who they are serving. Spend some time to identify who you're selling it to. It's good to say that, okay, everyone is my customer, but even a company like Google or WhatsApp or Facebook is not is not providing their services or products to 100% of the population, right? So if such a giant out there is not doing that, then how could you, right? Even, let's say, even if I say food is a basic necessity and everyone wants to eat food, but what kind of food, right? Somebody who earns maybe 5 lakh rupees annually versus somebody who earns 50 lakhs annually, their eating habits will be completely different. So something as fundamental as that has disparity in terms of how they consume certain things. So that's what you need to identify. Now, when you have this, let me just, yeah. So once you have defined this in terms of what your value proposition is and who your customer segments are, you want to define how do you take these to them. How do you provide your value to these specific customer segments? And that is exactly where the customer relationships come in. So you want to figure out the channels that help you find people, retain them, and grow your audience, right? That's what you write down on customer relationships. Are you communicating them through a newsletter? Are you communicating them through a flyer? Are you retaining them through giving them coupon codes or better services? Anything. How are you growing that? Are you upselling them? Are you providing them with referral services? Again, bunch of these things you will have to answer here. right? So that's something that you need to answer here. And then how do you reach these customers, right? What channels they want to be reached? Do they want to be reached online, offline, uh, uh, through newspapers, through television, through WhatsApp, whatever, right? So define what channels and what are also the most efficient channels for them. So that is this first segment. So now this image makes a lot of sense, right? Are we on? If you are online and you're hearing this, uh, just maybe give me a thumbs up. Okay, fast. 20 people out of 70. Okay, someone said no. Are you not able to hear me, or are you facing a problem? Cool. You want me to fast forward? Okay, I shall do that. So interesting. Cool. So I hope we are good to go here. And so once we know what our value proposition is, once we know where our customers are, we define how our customer relationships will be and what are the channels that we are reaching them through. Correct. Now we move to the second part of it. Mosina, do you have a question? Okay, cool. So then we go to the second part of it, which is what are the key activities that you do, what are the key partners, and what are the key resources. So the key partners are people that will enable you to provide this value proposition. Obviously, you can't do 100% of what you like, the service that you're providing, right? So today, if I'm speaking to you, I need Zoom to communicate. So Zoom is a partner for me, right? Or I need your college administration to help me reach out to you. So these are key partners that enable me to provide my value, that is this knowledge, to my potential customer segment, that's you. So these are my partners, because I might be able to reach you directly, but it will take a longer or a much larger route. This is where I'm able to reduce my effort and get in good partnerships so that I can provide this value proposition. So that's something that you list in your key partners. And the key activities would be what are those actions you will take to provide this value proposition to your customer. So let's say my key action would be potentially building this presentation for you, right? Communicating to you, setting up this Zoom meeting, bunch of these things, promoting it, reaching out emailers, all these things, right? So what are those multiple activities that you will pursue to provide this value proposition? And against that, what are the resources that you need, right? I need a Zoom subscription. I need maybe a good internet connection, all of those things. So these could be financial, physical, intellectual, or human resources that you need to provide your value to your customer, right? So all of these things, you need to list them down. Now, there, as I said, that these come into two sides of it. So one is the front facing part, which is the relationships, channels, and the customer segment. And the back end is your partners, activities, and resources that enable you to do this. Now, if I go again, so here, if you see, yeah, these three are revenue making activities, right? How does your customers will pay for your service, right? And all these things will cost you money, right? So here is something that you need to write down. What exactly will it cost? How much will you make, right? These things you need to write down here. And once you do this, so if I ekdam कोर हिंदी और धंधे की भाषा में बात किया जाए तो ये आपका आवक है, ये आपका जावक है, ठीक है। तो आपका आवक आपके जावक से ज्यादा होना चाहिए, तभी आप प्रॉफिटेबल हो, राइट। सो द द रेवेन्यू दैट यू आर मेकिंग versus the cost structure, if that's higher, then you are a profitable. That means at a unit economic level, you are running a profitable business. It might not happen at the first sale itself. It may happen at some scale, maybe uh, at 100 orders, 1,000 orders, a million orders, whatever, right? But you should be able to provide this as a positive sum game. That's when running that business makes sense, right? um, I hope I'm clear here. And then so that's all about the basic business model canvas. So let's look at a couple of examples. I found out some of these out there. So let's say with respect to Uber, what's the value proposition, right? They are providing a smart way to move around, removing friction from payments, and an improved experience for people who are using their services. For the drivers, it provides them income, flexible working hours. They are their own boss. It's easy to join, low idle times, better issue resolution. For customers, it's a fast pickup. I get it where I am. Lower cost than renting a car or something like that. Convenience, easy to transact, all of those things, right? So bunch of these value propositions. And who are their customer segments? So if you look properly, there are two customer segments. One is drivers and the other is customers. So drivers are, again, who own their car and earn their money, and want to earn their own money. So again, demographic, socioeconomic, geographic, behavioral, situational, again, all of these things will come into play. And customers who use will be like maybe business customers, or who are constant travelers, or who don't own a car. Again, bunch of these things. And how are they connecting with their customers is through the mobile experience, convenience, review rating system, customer support, complaint management, all of those things. The channels that they are connecting with you is through their own mobile app, through word of mouth, that hey, chalo theek hai, Uber kar lete hai, Ola kar lete hai, whatever, right? Or websites or PR, again, typical marketing channels. The key partners that they want are drivers, right? Because they don't own cars. So they need the driving partners to them. They need investors. They need payment processing engines. They need technology service providers. Then they've got supporters, insurance, bunch of these other things, right? The activities that they do is develop the platform, do R&D, hire drivers, pay them, analyze data. The resources that they need, again, are the technology part, the skilled staff, the capital, brand equity. The cost structure here is all of these, like again, technology development costs, customer acquisition costs, marketing, salaries, bunch of these things. And revenue are the riding commissions, the pricing, the premium branding that they do out of this, right? And same thing again for Netflix. So all of us, most of us use Netflix. So again, what's the value proposition is you get uh, you get you get content in a singular app. You can choose whatever. I don't have to wait for a specific time. Bunch of these things. So similar example here, and they have their own set of partners, customers, activities that they do, the revenue streams, the cost structures. So this is how a typical business model canvas gets built. Cool. Um, again, I would like to also share. So I recently came across lean model, the lean canvas, and I've been also thinking a lot about it very recently. That should I focus on making a business model canvas, or should I focus on using a lean canvas? So a couple of differences here is business model canvas focuses on a specific aspect of a business. A lean canvas will focus more on the larger story. So you can choose, again, the choice is yours on what you want to go forward with. It will be different for different people. But with the lean canvas, what it does is you put up the problem, the solution, the alternatives, the metrics, all of that also here. And obviously rest is pretty much on the same. So again, it's a choice on what you want to add. Most of it is self-explanatory. I'll be happy to share this PPT, or maybe even if it's like everything is just Google search away. So you can put in that effort. Moving forward. Sorry. So how do you build a business, right? The first step is coming up with ideas, and what you use for that is the design thinking process. You build prototypes, test those ideas. The next step is to actually come up with a business model around it to gain insight on whether what I'm doing is going to be a profitable activity or not, right? And obviously after that, while you get a business sense, you create a financial plan, right? Because that's also important, because that's when you understand what are your exact risks. Because here you just get a one-page idea of, okay, ये सारी चीजें हैं, यहाँ पैसा लगने वाला है, यहाँ खर्चा होने वाला है, but how much, where, when, all those things only a financial plan can give you. And then you go ahead and launch something. So I think, yeah, so that's about it. And I have some homework for all of you. You can actually use social media to tag me and share this. So build a SWOT for yourself. And if you are building a business model canvas, just think a little bit deep and try and come up with at least a high level business model canvas with you. So with that, I'll open up to some questions, and these are my contact details. I'm happy to connect with you over email or on social media channels. This is my ID across every social media network, so you could search me out. Cool. Any questions now?
Very interesting, Abhijit. You have, managed to put the entire business model canvas so crisp and to the point. I have one question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the lean model canvas. See, I have done a little bit of research on business model canvas, and I have published a research paper, Springer publication, and we did a business model, social business model of an NGO working on craft revival. Okay, so that paper is already there, but about the lean canvas, this canvas be used for social businesses also, or it is only for?
Right. As I said, that it can be used for anything, to be honest. So if it's a business activity, you can do that. I think with respect to social businesses, so even while I run a non-profit foundation, it is important to think it from fundamental business perspectives, right? Because in most cases, like mostly we have the conception that, okay, NGO चला रहे हैं तो कुछ तो साइड में कर रहे हैं, या चैरिटी हो रहा है, मतलब खाली समय में कुछ कर रहे हैं. But then there are serious non-profits out there, right? Some of the largest organizations in the world are non-profits. So they need to operate in a structure. They need to have financial viability. They may, like obviously a main funding source is grants and donations and all of that. But beyond that, how do you even, like, there needs to be a strategy built to even acquire that, right? So if I look at grant or donations as a revenue, right, I need to market to my donors or funders, right? So what am I doing is I'm selling impact. So impact, social impact is my product or service, right? So that's how so if you look at the core business fundamentals and apply that to the non-profit sector, I think you can achieve a lot more. And that's something that we've been doing. Like we've been running Vruksh for past 3 years full time, and are growing rapidly. So, and I never imagined we could run non-profit like this. So it's been a massive learning even for me.
Great, great. Thank you so much. Before we move on, is Dr. Dimple Puje there? I would like to introduce Dimple.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Sorry, we missed you in the beginning. I missed to, introduce you. Abhijit, Dr. Dimple Puje is also part of CWE, and
Hello.
she is part of the Department of Accountancy and actively involved in CWE and IIC activity. In fact, she has one session today at 12 o'clock, but she's still here in your session because she didn't want to
I'm
miss.
so happy.
Some things are so close to your heart that you don't want to miss them, ma'am.
I'm
It
very.
was real pleasure to hear from you, sir. Very well put up for all the students and us.
I was continuously thinking, sir, so I've started something, a startup with with couple of friends. So I was, the moment you started, I was continuously thinking how I can apply what, where. So I was just listening to you and I was just trying to figure out, how can I put things into place. So really interesting and a lot of inputs you gave. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dimple, for joining despite the challenges.
Yes,
And,
Dimple, ma'am.
yeah. Any other questions from the students? Yes, girls, any questions?
You all want to ask questions on about who all are interested in business, who had raised your
Or
hands,
any
anything?
question on business model canvas?
No, I think they're
Yes,
clear, ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, somebody has a question. Yeah,
Ma'am, I have two questions for the sir.
yeah.
Ma'am, my first question is, what is the chronological order for thinking accordingly for doing any kind of business? So what there is a is there a step-by-step process for doing a business, or should we put up like any step for, I mean, first this step needs to do and then the second step needs to be go on, or should be like fixed a method of doing the business? And my second question to sir is like, should we look at our competitors as an opportunity or a threat to our business?
Sorry, I didn't get your second question.
Sir, should we look at our competitors as an opportunity or as a threat to our business?
Correct. Sure. So the first question, I think I've already shared this in the deck. So the design thinking process has this format, right? It's not a linear process. You always keep jumping from here to there, and it's always iterative, right? That's the key word. You can't expect कि I'll do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and I'll have my solution. It's always a mix and match. So while you empathize, you go to your design board, you define the problem, then you ideate, then you have multiple solutions, then you when you prototype them, maybe you think, okay, this is not working, can I go back, should I need to refine my idea, and then when I test it, okay, maybe the test failed, all 3 of my ideas failed, I need to go back and define my problem statement, and then keep going doing this till the point that I find out something, right? So it's a completely iterative process at design thinking level. So yeah, so that's there. The second is how do you look at businesses out there? So they will be potential threats. Obviously, they will not be opportunities. But the problems that they are not solving can be your opportunities. I got this wonderful idea from I think I read it over Twitter or LinkedIn, I don't remember, but someone shared that if you want to build a business and you have a very strong competitor, what you do is go on the review section, right, and list out all the bad reviews and figure out what are they doing bad and try and solve for it, right? And that's where you can create, that's where the problem statement is. That's where, even if let's say a Google or a Facebook is not able to deliver, right, we have multiple search engines today, right? We've Google, we've Safari, we've Firefox, all of them serve their different needs, right? We say that, okay, a lot of people complain that, okay, Google is mining my data. Where should I go? Right. So then people go to Brave or I use DuckDuckGo as my browser search engine. And again, multiple products. People don't try to use Android because you have data. Again, bunch of these things. So every, like even the largest companies out there have competitors, right? And those are thriving because there is a set of people who you are not able to please. You will never be able to please 100% of your customer base. So if you are entering into that segment where you have a large competitor, just go ahead and like as I said, go to their Play Store or so any where they have review system, and figure out the lowest ratings and just solve for it.
Great, great. Very interesting. Thank you, Abhijit. Any other questions? Girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would like to know what's the biggest factor that has helped you to be successful and what were your mistakes along your way?
Okay, this might not go well with the academics in the room, but my biggest success, like my biggest contribution to wherever I am right now, was my academic failure. I failed in my second year of engineering. I had to take a drop year because of that, and at that time, obviously, I did not feel very good. I was terrible. I was heartbroken. But now that I look at it, that was the best thing that could have happened to me. That motivated me to start my first company. I ran a profitable business for about 3 years and then moved on to doing a couple of more things. But yeah, that was the start. So wherever I am today, I think obviously beyond the obvious things that we believe in, friends, family, your spiritual beliefs that you have in. But a key turning point for me was my academic failure. And if you know anyone who's going through that, please send them my way. I'd be happy to guide them if they are not feeling very good about it.
So then did you finish your engineering, sir, or you dropped out totally?
I did.
You did? Okay. So that you're not saying, say that. Add that to, I said add that also.
Well, to top that up, I'm actually doing my PhD right now.
So great.
So
Wow.
fantastic, fantastic.
So you cannot just say one side, you have to complete the story, sir.
Yeah, good, good, good. Very interesting. Before we take, if there are any question, Abradita, do you want to put the feedback form and
Yes, I'll
yeah,
put feedback.
yeah,
Girls, please
and
put in the feedback. I'm putting the link. Please fill it up without fail.
any other questions?
And I think just to follow up with the second part of the question that was there, I think one of the key things that I thought I would do, or the mistake that I did, was not getting enough experience before I started up. So would really encourage, like, even though if you're a student, this is the best time that you can do to start something on your own. But definitely get some experience working with other people, because what it does is it helps you understand the processes on what you need to do, what you need to not do, and figure out how to effectively run an organization. So if you have that little bit of experience, it goes a long way, right? And I had that after, like, my second startup, it failed. I had to go back to working for someone, and that's when I realized, okay, there were a bunch of mistakes that I did, which I shouldn't have. The second top thing which I tell people is doing a very good market research, because if you look at statistics, it said that 98% startups fail in the first 3 years, and 45% of them fail because they are building something that is not required for the market, right? So if 50% failure rate is because people don't even invest time in doing basic market research, right? So if you don't know what your customer wants, you're going to invest so much time and money into building something, and tomorrow you go to the market and they said, "Oh, hey, we don't need this at all. This is not solving my problem." So it is very important to go out there and um, do that market research very well.
Good, very interesting. Thank you so much. Girls, can we all have your videos on for a few minutes, please? Videos on, please. And any more questions you can ask.
Also, while so many of you are here, I would really love some feedback from all of you. I've just put up a post right now on LinkedIn. So maybe if you could give me a feedback on that, that would be awesome.
Please put your videos on.
Cool. Are we taking a picture?
Yeah. We take screenshots, all three screens. Thank you. Thank you. Any more questions?
Any questions, folks?
So one last question.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
How did you come up with the name Brick for your company?
Sorry, the name?
Brook. Like your company.
Okay, interesting. I think so. To be honest, it was actually suggested by a friend who said that this would be right, and I think it fit in really well in terms of what we are trying to do. So let me give you a little bit brief in terms of what we do at Vruksh. So we are a non-profit organization that works for entrepreneurship enablement. We work in terms of solving problems that are or helping entrepreneurs that are solving problems beyond tier 1 cities. So the idea was, how do we build a community of entrepreneurs? How do we bring together stakeholders that are necessary in the success of an entrepreneur together and channel them through us so that we can present them that for an entrepreneur, this is where you have to go, right? These are the people that you need in your journey. Because throughout my own personal journey and the founding team of Vruksh, we faced our own set of hurdles, and we saw that it was very important to have a community around us and have those different stakeholders together. And that's where Vruksh as a name came in, because and I'm like, whenever I put up names to my companies that I've been building in the past, it's a very philosophical background to it. So what a tree does, so it has two, like the logo itself that you see here has two elements to it. One is the representation is of the tree of life from the mythological features, and it's the Japanese Enzo, which shows like as a full circle, and that with two earthy colors, obviously. So what a tree basically does is it gathers the nutrients from the soil, it processes it internally, and then gives out fruits. And that's exactly what we do as an organization. We bring together stakeholders and nourish them so that they can become the fruits that are entrepreneurs of tomorrow. So that's the fundamental thought behind naming it Vruksh.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Any more questions? Okay, so we are good to go. Abradita?
Yes, ma'am.
Can we wind up? Can I tell Mohsina to propose?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Mohsina.
sorry.
Yeah.
Ma'am, 1 minute. I just, sir, I just checked on LinkedIn, but I'm not seeing any post.
I just added that post on the chat here.
Okay. So I'll check it out. Okay. Thank you, sir. So you were saying?
Yes, I was saying that we actively are on the lookout for volunteers, interns, people who want to join our tribe. So if you think that's something, whether you're building a business, you want to gain some experience, you want to volunteer, you're looking for internships, please reach out we're looking out for motivated folks to be part of our community.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I'm sure we'll get in touch with you, the girls also. Thank you so much. Yes, Abradita, anything else?
No, ma'am, all good.
Okay, okay. Yes, Mosina.
Thank you so much, Abhijit sir. I take this opportunity to propose the vote of thanks and extend our gratitude and appreciation for Mr. Abhijit for sparing his valuable time and sharing insights on the business model canvas, and also discussing about design thinking, SWOT, and giving examples about business model canvas of Uber and Netflix. I am sure all of us will be able to put into practice some of the points shared by sir. I also take this opportunity to thank Dr. Rama ma'am and Abradita ma'am for organizing a very interesting session on business model canvas. Last but not the least, a big thank you to each and everyone one present here. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Abradita. Thank you, Mosina.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you, girls, for joining in. Thank
Such
you,
an
sir.
interesting and,
Yeah,
you
very
put it in
nice.
a capsule so nicely. That is
Yeah.
also a skill.
Didn't realize where the time went.
Yes, yes,
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yes.
We'll
Thank-
definitely keep bothering you, Abhijit.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Bye-bye, girls.
Bye. Bye. Should we leave, ma'am?
Yeah. Abhijit?